Hello and welcome to Keep Right on a live edition of Birmingham Live's Birmingham City podcast. I'm Brian Dick and I'm joined on Fixtures release day by our Blues reporter Alex Dicken. And after weeks of famine, we've got something of a feast to talk about today, haven't we, Alex?
Yeah, we are feasting, Brian, this week, aren't we? Not just with transfers, which we'll come on to later, but obviously with the fixtures announced today. And do you want me to throw it out there who Blues are opening up with, or do you want to do that one, Brian?
No, you're the expert. You do it. All I will before you do that, I just will say, nice to see people have joined us already. If you want to leave a comment or ask a question, we will try and get to them. We are obviously quite busy at the moment, pressed for time, but we will try and address as many as we can. So yeah, away you go, Alex.
Yeah, so sorry, I was going to say Blues open up at home to Ipswich Town on the weekend of the 9th and 10th of August. Blues are actually playing on Friday, the 8th of August at 8 p.m. It's obviously going to be a Sky Sports game. They're going to kick off the season with Blues against Ipswich, which is quite interesting, really, because Blues are trying to do an Ipswich and go from
Yeah.
League One to the Premier League in successive seasons. Pits two of the country's brightest young managers against each other in Chris Davies and Kieran McKenna, if McKenna is still at Ipswich at the start of the season. So yeah, a very exciting one. And Sky Sports, it's not really a great surprise, is it, that they've picked this game?
You'd never accuse the fixtures computer of being random, would you? No, absolutely. The phrase you've just used there is Blues are trying to do an Ipswich, starting off against Ipswich. I definitely feel another Benjamin Bloom podcast coming on for that one. But yeah, really exciting. I mean, I guess the traditionalist in me likes the 3 p.m. on a Saturday and it's all sunny and it's August and it's warm. And that feels like a punctuation mark in the summer. But listen, this season's going to be exciting, and this won't be the first. Well, it will be the first. It's very much the first, but it won't be the last fixture that's going to be moved for TV purposes. I think Blues will be all over the show this season in terms of their scheduling.
No, definitely not. And I was looking at something earlier from the EFL saying that TV picks for up until the end of September will be with us by July 3rd. And then by the end of July, we should know who Blues are playing, if it's on TV or if it's been moved, right up until the FA Cup third round, which this year I think is January the 11th. So that will give us a good idea of what Blues are going to be doing first half of the season, so supporters can make those travel arrangements. And then I guess the hope is, although it is kind of an inconvenience sometimes, that Blues are amongst the TV picks in the second half of the season as well, because that means they're going to be doing well and going to be in the conversation for promotion.
Yeah, indeed. Just looking at the fixtures list, if Ipswich at home on a Friday night on TV is very much new Championship. The first away game, Saturday 3 p.m. at Blackburn, is very much old Championship, isn't it?
Yeah, well, massively. Yeah, right. How many times have Blues been to Blackburn? Was it 4 in the same season a couple of years ago?
It was, yeah. They had a couple of FA Cup games up there. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one that I'm going to be off actually at that time of year, and that's one I'm not that sad to be missing, to be honest.
Literally, I'm not going to make any comparison with the fact that Blackburn's pre-match food offering is the worst in the Championship, and that's nothing to do with the fact you scheduled a holiday.
I'm quite looking forward to my my tuna sandwich at Blackburn this year, to be honest. But
yeah, okay, well, that's if you get one. Yeah, yeah, okay. Let's move it on. The first four, Alex, they sort of before the international break, which is why I've gone for 4: Ipswich at home, Blackburn away, Oxford at home, Leicester away. A little bit of everything in there, but I suppose half of that is the relegated teams is the thing that leaps out there.
yeah, it's straight in, really, isn't it? With 2 of the promotion favourites in the first 4. Ipswich, I feel like, are probably going to be better at that stage of the season than Leicester, because I think Ipswich are probably going to have more fixed parts. Yeah,
the continuity. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Whereas Leicester, I mean, have they even put anything out about their manager yet, or made a decision about their manager yet? It's still kind of up in the air, isn't it? So they'll kind of be scraping around, you'd imagine, by that point in the season. Maybe a little bit like Leeds were a couple of years ago when they came to Blues very early season and had 3 or 4 players who'd gone on strike and wanted to move. So yeah, Blues called, Leeds cold that day. Maybe they could do the same with Leicester when Leicester come at the end of August, because there's still be so many variables.
Yeah, the transfer window will still be open, won't it? Absolutely. Leicester, the talk around Leicester is that there'll be some announcement around the manager in early July to kind of span the accounting periods. Obviously, they got rid of Steve Cooper in this financial year, and getting rid of Ruud van Nistelrooy in this financial year, would potentially be difficult for them. So, as you say, there'll be tons of moving parts around them. Hopefully, Alex, a very early trip back to the King Power for Dimmy Gray.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? So, are we going on to transfers now?
No, we're not. No. We will come on to transfers in a minute, but I just got a bit excited there. Is there a key run of fixtures for you in this list that is, if not predictable?
Yeah, we've jumped over Gary Rout to turn St Andrews here, Brian.
Okay, do you want to do that then?
Yeah, no, not really. I've mentioned it now, so we can move on.
and Siriki Dembele, the signing that never was really.
If we are talking about key run of fixtures, I think maybe around Christmas time, it's hard to put a lump together and say that's going to make or break Blues season. I did think last year Blues played, I think, 5 or 6 very strong teams in succession, or pre-season promotion favourites in succession, from around the end of August to October. And I remember looking at that thinking that's a key run. But this year I'm not so sure. Around Christmas, if I can just get the fixtures up.
Derby at home on Boxing Day.
Well, yeah, Sheffield United as well, just before that. So Sheffield United on the 20th away from home. Obviously, again, they just missed out in the playoff final. A lot of good championship players. You're expecting them to be up there. Derby at home on Boxing Day, John News's return. Southampton at home on the 29th. Watford away. Watford are always you expect them to be up there, but in recent years they haven't always been up there, have they? So, and then Coventry at home on the 4th of January. So I think those 5 games, I would expect at least 3 of those clubs, being Sheffield United, Southampton and Coventry, to be in the conversation for the top 6 this season.
I'm going to put the cart right before the horse, and I'm going to be the when Blues are up there man this season rather than you. So I'm looking already at the end of the season, the last 5 games. So Blues play Ipswich. I think that'll be Easter Monday on April the 6th. But then it's Wrexham at home, Hull away, Preston at home, Bristol City at home, and Portsmouth away. And if Blues are in a good position then, as they could well be, there's... it doesn't feel like that's a massively daunting run of fixtures now. That's with 2 months to go of the transfer window. We just don't know what condition those teams are going to be in at that stage, after 40 odd games. But looking at them now and looking at what Wrexham are now and what Hull are now and what Preston are now and what Bristol City are now and Portsmouth, I look at that and think, if Blues are in a position there, I'm not saying the door's wide open, but there's as I say, it's not a terrible minefield to pick through at the end of the season there.
No, it's a favourable finish, isn't it? Again, you can't really sit here and say, with, like you said, Brian, with 2 months of the window to go, and say, Portsmouth are going to be down there this season or not have anything to play for on the final day, and Blues can go there and take 3 points. So it is very difficult to judge, because you do always, in the Championship, you do always get 1 or 2 teams that you look at the start of the season and you don't expect them to do much, and then they end up being in the top 6 conversation.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I don't see that with Bristol City, I've got to say. No. I'm looking at, they've obviously lost their manager, and they've got Gerhard Struber, is it, that's come into there. But some of the signings they've made at the moment just feel like maybe that playoff campaign isn't going to replicate itself. Preston North End, their manager Paul Heckingbottom is already, preparing the ground for not much of a budget and quite potentially a difficult season. Or they will be organised, because he's a good manager. And Portsmouth, I think, are already, favourites to go down. Not that will mean anything. Portsmouth away on the final day of the season, that could be very, very, very tasty, couldn't it?
Yeah, massive. I've never been to Portsmouth as well, so I'm quite looking forward to that one of all the matches this season. Yeah. Hull as well in that little mix, and you never know what Hull are going to be, do you, really, these days?
Absolute wild card of a club, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the head coach appointment, new to England, didn't do, brilliantly in his final season in Turkey. They obviously signed a lot of players from that part of the world that, again, haven't played much in England or haven't played at all in England. So they are a little bit of a wild card. They could either be what they were 2 years ago and finish 7th, or they could be what they were last year and almost get relegated.
Yep. Okay, let's move this on, because I know it's literally just a list of teams and dates, isn't it? Is there a game that you're most looking forward to, Alex?
Oh, I'm actually really looking forward to the first one. No, that's very easy to say,
Yeah,
but it jumps off the page, doesn't it? Ipswich, I think, are probably my favourites for promotion because I think they'll be of the three teams coming down. They'll kind of have the least exits this summer, and obviously if they keep McKenna as well, they've got to be favourites for promotion. I think they are with the bookmakers as well. So that was always going to be a big game, and to have it on the opening night, Friday night in August, in front of the TV cameras, sold out, it's going to be pretty special.
yeah, indeed. I'm looking forward to Eustace back at St Andrews on Boxing Day. I do like Derby, and even the Derby away game, which I probably should have clocked when that is. Derby away, Alex. Derby home is Boxing Day.
Derby away is March, end of March.
March, yeah. So I do like a trip to Pride Park. So yeah, those double header against Derby with the Eustace factor. Looking forward to those. I think we're both going to say this is going to be the most challenging from a journalistic point of view. Is it the February trip to Millwall?
Yes, that's on a midweek. I did Millwall in a midweek a couple of years ago.
Yeah, always is
1-0.
in midweek. Yeah,
Yeah, it's never nice to get to, is it? You kind of have to go right through the middle of London, and I always look through London games and see where they are because you don't want them to be in midweek, and they've got QPR in midweek as well. Although that's not as bad because it's West. Thankfully, Charlton this year is on a Saturday, whereas we had to go there in the League Cup last year, didn't we, as well? So.
Dave G asking, is the Portsmouth press box a nice place for a celebration? Thanks for that, Dave. Yeah, I mean, it's as good a place to anywhere to celebrate. It's as good a place as anywhere to celebrate. So I think, again, I've not been to Portsmouth, although I think Joe Chapman did the game for us. So it was Jude's debut, wasn't it? Will Brazier. Hello, Will. Nice to see you. Promoted by March. Typically understated there from Will. Tom Shaw saying the first 3 away games hopefully be big allocations. Yeah, that would be very good to get lots of meat on seats, as they say. Right, let's move on to transfers because everybody wants to talk about transfers, Alex. There's 3 names sort of doing around or bubbling along at the moment, isn't there? Damari Gray. What are we hearing about Damari at the moment?
Yeah, Damari Gray, reported him around the start of the month, didn't we? There's obviously a very, very strong interest there. I get the impression that he's quite keen to come back to Blues, even though there are other teams interested in him, and Blues are obviously very, very keen to have him. So it's a case of they are club are in talks with Al Ettifaq trying to work out a deal. I get the feeling it's probably going to happen. I mean, I could be wrong. It could, completely fall apart in the next couple of days. But I get the feeling it will go through. And he's obviously known to Chris Davies from their time together at Leicester, where Davies was an assistant under Brendan Rodgers. Fits the left winger position in this Blues system and team perfectly. So he will bring a huge amount of quality if it does go through. But I get the feeling that it will.
Thoughts about that as well? It's really incredibly exciting signing. That would be a real statement of intent.
Yeah, huge. I mean, his body of work in England, apart from 75 or so appearances for Blues in the Championship, is in the Premier League. He's played 200 times in the Premier League. Played and had a little spell in the German Bundesliga as well. So he's been a top level footballer for his entire career. People will look at the last 2 years in Saudi Arabia, where he's played, I think, 47 games in the Saudi Pro League, only scored 4 goals, 3 assists. Not brilliant numbers, understandably so. But if you look past that, then he is a proven Premier League player, if maybe a low-end Premier League player these days, but somebody that will be very good in the Championship, or should be very good in the Championship. And if Blues do, as we talked about earlier, get promoted to the Premier League, he still would be a good squad player in that league.
Yeah, indeed. And you can't ignore the sort of the emotional tie, can you? The homegrown product coming back to Blues. What did Blues lack last season? They lacked pace. Dimmy's got plenty of that, and even as a young player, he learned to track back, which is something that is a non-negotiable for Chris Davies as well, isn't it? So the fit there is sensational for me. What I would say, if he comes back and he's clearly the biggest earner in the dressing room, without speculating on what people are going to earn, then that comes with the pressure, doesn't it? a lot of eyes will be on Dimmy's contribution to, external, maybe not internal, but maybe internal as well, but certainly external. Okay, what are you going to bring to the party here? So they'll come with a lot of pressure, but yeah, like that link a lot.
Yeah, he'd take some of the pressure off Jay, wouldn't he, from last season? So
Yeah, indeed. Tommy Doyle is another one. Nearly said Kevin Doyle, who also played for Wolves, but definitely not him. Tommy Doyle, Wolves, I think it's only signed him permanently last summer, didn't they, from Manchester City? What are you hearing on that one?
Yeah, so I've been told this morning that Blues and Wolves have held talks over Tommy Doyle. I'm unsure as to whether it would be a loan or a permanent deal. I think Wolves do favour a loan, but it makes sense from Blues' point of view to do something more permanent. I think for a player like that, we know Blues are after a number 6 to compete with Peck and Awata for those spots in there. Doyle very different to those two. Excellent on the ball, excellent technically. Probably not got the physicality of the two of them. Indeed, that's probably why he's leaving Wolves, because Vitor Pereira, their manager, has kind of made a point of saying that he doesn't think he has the physicality to play in their system and style in the Premier League. Obviously, Wolves more of a counter-attack team. Blues in the Championship, definitely going to be a possession-based team. So I think Doyle fits. I'm not sure whether it will happen. There's been talks. I guess there have been talks between Blues and other clubs with midfielders involved, but clearly a liking for Tommy Doyle, and given his age, profile, position, and the way he plays it, I quite like it.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Interestingly, you said that when we were sort of chatting off camera, I wondered if he was athletic enough for Chris Davis. He's certainly, as you say, a technically good midfielder. Again, if he's coming in to be a squad member and maybe have a different skill set to open up teams, then yeah. But I still think the jury's out on him quite a bit, don't you? Really, he still hasn't proved a ton in his career. I don't think
he hasn't had, I'd say, a consistent season where he has been one of the main men. Even at Sheffield United, I think he was in and out of their promotion winning team in 22-23, wasn't he? And I think the deal that Wolves had for him in 2023 was just too good to turn down, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was kind of involved in the Matheus Nunes going the other way. So yeah, to get him for just over £4 million, very, very good business. I think technically superb. Blues in some games next season are going to have to maybe play a three-man midfield, maybe release Peck to go further forward a little bit and go be a little bit more cautious, especially away from home.
Yeah.
Does Chris Davis need somebody next to Tomoki Awata who can look after the ball? If yes, I think Tommy Doyle's probably a good bet.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, we'll move on. Kyogo, I know you spoke to Ryan McDonald from Football Scotland about Kyogo, didn't you? Seems to have just gone a little bit quiet in the last couple of days on that front, but it is a genuine link, isn't it?
Yeah, there's definitely interest there. He is on Blues list. We had that confirmed. So I guess it's just a waiting game. The problem is with being a waiting game that if other teams do come in for him during, he's clearly going to leave Rennes this summer. Blues looks quite attractive option for him because he obviously would want to get to the Premier League and Blues can take him there, hopefully, in the next couple of years. But it's whether another Premier League side comes in, looks at that Celtic form from 2 years ago and thinks, he's only 30 years old. We can take a punt on him. I think it's quite interesting the age profile of some of these players, Kyogo and Damari Gray. They're experienced players, aren't they? Who are going to be, who have done good things in their careers, are going to command big salaries certainly, if not fees. So it probably shows that they're going for that proven element this summer, doesn't it? Whereas last summer it felt like they were signing some projects.
Yeah, it does feel like they're certainly shopping in a different superstore of your choice, aren't they? Really. Lee Peterson's asked what about Mark Leonard? He said he'd like him to be given a chance, but think he'll go out on loan to League One. If Mark Leonard does go out on loan, I wouldn't mind seeing him go on loan to a Championship club. To be honest with you, because for me, I think that's the next proving ground for him. To be honest,
would he get in Wrexham's team? I think he probably would.
Do you think?
Probably would, yeah. I think he would. We could debate it, but I think he's technically a better player than George Dobson, in my opinion, as a midfield player. Maybe not as athletic as George Dobson, but I think he's technically a better player as a holder. I think he's technically better than Rathbone. I'm not trying to sell Mark Leonard to Wrexham here, but I think in a team like that in the Championship, I could see him doing good things. Probably there's 5 or 6 Championship sides that Mark Leonard would walk
Yeah,
into,
I
and
think so as well.
I
Yeah.
don't see why that wouldn't be an option for him. It will have been disappointing the lack of minutes that he had last season. So if Blues bring in another number 6, then I would expect Leonard to probably ask the question as to whether he could go out on loan or maybe even seal a permanent transfer somewhere else.
Yeah, indeed. Chizza says it would be crushing to see Leonard on another team against us. I mean, if he does go out on loan, he won't be able to play against Blues, just to say that. But, it would be sad because, he's the guy that Alex and I think, without speaking for Alex, he's still got quite a lot of ceiling and a lot of untapped potential, hasn't he? So I'd like that. I'd like that potential. I wouldn't want to sell him. I still would like to see him as part of the Blues squad going forward.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely favour a loan move from Mark Leonard.
Yeah, okie doke. Right, Alex, we'll wrap it up there. I know you're a busy man, and I've got stuff to do as well. So, just want to say thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your attention and your questions and your comments. It's keep right on from both of us.